Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin and Ms. Jacinta Tobin, representatives of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin, Ms. Tobin.
Thank you. Warame Nalawa. Hello and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. My sister and I, we are descendant of we're one of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I want to thank the university for their acknowledgement of our people and for the invitation to welcome you here today. That acknowledgement is important for us and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. Our family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie himself, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years, then used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them and became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name from. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. For your progress progresses us all. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when clan groups were smaller and people abided by the strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune with us enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the whole community. And you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it right. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly did in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer themselves to you as a model or a benchmark on how good perhaps to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived a little south of here over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as one of the happiest people he had met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They were naked, they made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the earth without tilling it. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, and no rich and poor either. Everyone had roughly the same amount of gear, what you could carry. There were no armies or jails or even police. We have no history of slavery or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, and then they were shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state. Rivers were clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now remember, this is not an ideal. This was normal life for a long, long time. And there is no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, a lot more of us now, so we've got to be extra clever. That's where you people come in. All right. So I would say expect great things from your future and your lives, and do great things. We share our skills with each other. Together we can put together a country and a future worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you good people graduate. But first, I'm going to hand you over to my sister. She would like to sing a couple of songs in language. So yes, thank you for your attention, and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you.
It is a special day because you don't get to see us both together normally. Thank God for mum and babysitting. I'd just like to say, Nalawa Merika Karambarak Tejurigo Yana Jana Webabo Nangami, which is come in and sit down. The Darug are happy to see you. And as Chris said, because we believe if you're educated, and it was actually through Macquarie University that helped find us as a family. Because unlike many other people, we weren't allowed to speak our language. or our children were taken. We weren't allowed to talk about our culture or our children were taken. If one of us came out too fair, they were hidden. So this is the reality of the history of Australia. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge my elders past and present. And this song is for the mothers because we are also Burrabrongal, but we also come from an area called Wamali. And that is the Prospect area. And so my mum, her mum, her mum, her mum, her mum, her mum, all came from that area. His mum too. Wee-roo-wee, boo-boo-woo. Wee-roo-wee, boo-boo-woo. Yana, Nyindi, Yana, Janui. Aboriginal women strong. Aboriginal women strong. Walk with you, walk with me, Janui. Wee-roo-wee, boo-boo-woo. Wee-roo-wee, boo-boo-woo. Yana, Nyindi, Yana, Janui. So that's, to me, when I sing in language, I actually get to massage the country. My belief. Don't think it's Chris's because we're different. But it's also important that all Australians realise you actually speak direct language. You say wallaby, wombat, corroboree, boomerang. This is our language. That's why you say it as Australians, because we were the first people you met. I'd like to end on a song that talks about maybe tomorrow love, maybe tomorrow light, maybe tomorrow we dream together, because we are that first mixture of black and white in Australia, first legal marriage of black and white in Australia. And let's have an Australia Day that we all celebrate together, because we're all Australians. Murapa, burapa, numberdi, gilinangami aloan. Murapa, burapa, niora. Alawa, Jaralang, Janoe, Nangami, Jaralang, Nangami, Jaralang, Nangami, Jaralang. Nangami, Jaralang, Nangami, Jaralang, Nangami, Jaralang. Nangami, Jaralang, Nangami, Jaralang, Nangami, Jaralang. Didgeridoo, welcome and good luck, congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan AO. Mr. Egan.
Well, thank you, Jacinta and Chris Tobin, for that welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I see we have a number of young boys and girls with us today, and I'm also pleased to see that we have a few little babes in arms with us. Now, there's one thing certain through a long graduation, and that is children will make a noise, but please don't be embarrassed by that. We don't mind if the little ones run around. We don't mind if the babies cry. In fact, we actually like it because we've learned from experience that if a baby cries through a graduation ceremony, they're back within 25 years to take out their first PhD. So now, usually we get the young mothers and the fathers and they position themselves down there to make a hasty retreat when the baby starts to wail. Now, unfortunately, two have already departed, so I'm going to ask the young man down there who looks as though he's an employee of Macquarie University to go out and please invite them back. I've never ever seen a celebration that isn't enhanced by the presence and the noise of children, and a university graduation, I think, benefits as well. So please come back in and sit down. Well, now, let me first welcome our graduands, and we have quite a number of them here this afternoon. And I hope that today is going to be a really happy and a really memorable occasion for all of you. But it will only be a happy occasion if you all relax. Some of you look happy and relaxed. Some of you look as nervous as though you're about to go into the exam room rather than collect a degree. So please, nothing can go wrong today. The very worst thing that can happen, and it has happened before, is that someone comes up here on the stage and they fall over. Now, when that happens, we've got that covered. And today we have none other than the 2013 Australian of the Year, Miss Ita Buttrose, who, as well as giving the occasional address, has the main job of picking you up if you fall over. So welcome Ita. Well now, graduates, or graduands, you're not yet graduates, you will be soon. Graduands, you do deserve to take pride in your graduation because completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind, you need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you sitting on that side and sitting behind our graduands as their invited guests. Because if you think about it just for a moment, you've all obviously done well too. The fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. So mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers and grandfathers, friends, husbands and wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role, because I have another very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their success, please, you make sure you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, obviously, Macquarie University is not one of them. We're very young in comparison, only 50 years of age this year. We proudly take our name from Australia's greatest colonial governor, Governor Lachlan Macquarie, a man whose greatness and achievements were never acknowledged by his contemporaries, but only by history. Those of us who went to school here in New South Wales learnt that Macquarie was a great builder. But his greatest legacy had nothing to do with bricks and mortar. It was the ethos he established, much to the chagrin of the British authorities, of an egalitarian society, because it was Macquarie's insistence that in this fledgling convict colony there be no distinction between the free and the freed that was the foundation of the Australian notion of a fair go for all. And that is a legacy that here at Macquarie we will always aim to maintain and honour. Now, after our first 50 years, we have, well, I was about to say, we now have more than 150,000 graduates, but that's not quite true, not yet. At this graduation ceremony, we will be graduating our 150,000th student. I know that student's name. It was given to me just before the ceremony commenced. So I really do look forward to that great milestone, and it's one of you, so it's a great distinction. And by the way, those 150,000 students now live in more than 140 countries around the world. Macquarie is a very modern and a very outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research as we are our course offerings and our facilities. On your way here today, you may have seen our Macquarie University Hospital, which is only a few years old. We are the only university in Australia with our own private hospital, which, as well as serving its primary purpose of treating sick people, is also used by the postgraduate medical students and academics in our School of Advanced Medicine. It's a 180-bed hospital, and it's a really first-class hospital. I can attest to that personally. I was a patient there for 3 days towards the end of last year, and the care is absolutely phenomenal, especially if you're the Chancellor. We also, if you get a chance later, you might go and have a look at our library, which is only a couple of years old. It's the only library in Australia with an automated book retrieval system. And only last year we opened our Advanced Hearing Hub, which is a world-leading institute in hearing, speech and language sciences. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. Here at Macquarie we have a very clear and very straightforward mission. And that mission is to transform people's lives and to improve the lives not just of our own students, but also of people all around the globe by the work and achievements of our graduates and by the fruit of our research. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Ms. Sarah Ellen McElveen, who is graduating today with a Master of Education, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Ms. McElveen.
Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduands, and guests, I'm honoured to represent all the graduates of the Macquarie University Faculty of Human Sciences and Faculty of Arts programs today. We have all worked hard to achieve our goals, and we've been fostered in an environment that supports higher learning and academic achievement. Today is a wonderful day. Graduation ceremonies represent ongoing commitment to lifelong learning and are the culmination of hard work and dedication. But that is not the only reason that today is great. Today is a wonderful day because everyone here, graduating with new knowledge and new skills, will have an impact on our society. We are all graduating today with degrees that will empower us to work in careers that have a direct influence and inspiration upon our closest communities. Education empowers individuals, and that is a great and wonderful thing. For many of us, graduating today represents the culmination of years of learning. This learning may have been in the lecture theatres, classrooms, libraries, and possibly the pubs of the Macquarie campus, and in debates with our peers. For many of us, this learning may have looked like conversations with the many dedicated teachers and staff of the university who've worked tirelessly with us to negotiate the critical ideas and issues in each of our subject areas. No doubt, occasionally, this learning might have looked like middle-of-the-night sessions with a laptop, frantically trying to coordinate disparate thoughts into a coherent response. Regardless of what this learning looked like for each of us, we can all take pleasure in the recognition of that effort that this ceremony represents today. For most of us, studying will not have been a solitary pursuit. We've worked closely with other students and learned from the challenges we set each other. We've developed healthy competition and benefited from seeing the different perspectives of our peers. We've built academic support networks, and indeed, we've made lifelong friends. This is a good day to recognize that aspect of our university experience, too. We must also consider the importance of our family and friends who have made sacrifices to support us in our academic lives. Our parents, siblings, partners, children and friends have contributed to our successes today by encouraging our interests, keeping us fed and sane, and sometimes, if your experience has been anything like mine, putting up with our late-night rages and ongoing computer issues. Most importantly, our friends and families have encouraged our love and learning, and thus share in our achievements today. On our graduation day, this day of completion, as it were, we must acknowledge the critical role played by the teachers and inspirational educators who have guided us through our work at Macquarie University. Even if you're a distance education student and have not spent much time physically on the campus, it would be virtually impossible not to be inspired by the example set by the passionate teachers and academics here at the university. Thank you to the teachers and staff who have made it okay for us to pursue, sometimes completely single-mindedly, our interests in learning. Thank you to those teachers who encouraged us to look at the bigger picture and who asked us to consider how to think about and achieve a better world. Thank you for encouraging our quirky intellectual pursuits and continuing to foster our learning in all the many different disparate areas that this many people can be interested in. I remember back to my Bachelor of Teaching in 2005. On the first day, the lecturer showed a clip of Dead Poets Society and asked the assembled students who had been inspired to become a teacher because of Mr. Keating and his inspirational teaching of the students at Welton Academy. Initially, this question was met with some guffaws and probably a couple of as-ifs, since it was 2005. But then gradually, hands began going up around the room, as people recognized that while it might not have been the actual Mr. Keating who had inspired us, it was an inspirational teacher or an inspirational individual who led us down this path towards careers and industries where making a difference is the key. So with that in mind, the challenge that we each take away today, going into fields where we will be directly shaping, motivating, and influencing people in a variety of different roles, is to continue this trend and work to inspire and engage others with the joys of learning and education. Today is a wonderful day, and as we continue on our quests for knowledge and our ongoing learning in both our careers and in further education, those will be wonderful days too.
Well, congratulations, Sarah, on a fine speech, and congratulations on your master's degree, and congratulations on your choice of profession. And throughout your teaching career, never, ever, ever underestimate the importance of the work you do and the impact that you can have on people's lives. The Governor of New South Wales, Professor Murray Bashir, once gave a speech that I heard in which she really bowled over the audience. She said there were 3 essential occupations. One was nursing, one was teaching, and given that Professor Bashir is a doctor of medicine, I expected her to say medicine, and she said instead plumbing. And it turns out that she's a member of the Master Plumbers Association of New South Wales. They've actually given her a plumbing certificate. Mind you, I have on occasion had need to get medical advice from her. I'm not sure I'd ever engage her as a plumber. But the point she made was that it was the introduction of public sanitation that transformed public health back in the beginning of the 19th century. She then, of course, went on to talk about the importance of teaching, and as an academic, she was a teacher. And I think it is true that anyone who's had a fortunate life has at some stage been inspired by a great teacher or a number of great teachers. So you've chosen a great profession, and I'm sure you will inspire many, many people throughout your career. Well done. I think she deserves another great round of applause. Well, we now get to, excuse me, the key point of the ceremony. That's the conferring of degrees. And it's the only point of the ceremony that makes me a little bit nervous. Because many years ago, when I first became Chancellor, one of the best legal brains in Australia told me that if I made the mistake of conferring a degree on someone who was not eligible to receive it, there was nothing I could do to take it back. So since that time, I have always insisted that before I confer degrees, I get an ironclad guarantee from the Deputy Registrar, Mr Jonathan Wiley over there, who will certify that you're all eligible to graduate today. So I have to ask Jonathan to tell me honestly, have all of these people never been late in submitting an assignment, never missed a class, and are otherwise eligible to graduate?
Chancellor, I certify that all candidates presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees or diplomas please now stand?
Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees and diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Human Sciences and from the Faculty of Arts. The Faculty of Human Sciences includes research and study areas in advanced medicine, education, linguistics, psychology, early childhood, cognitive science, and the health professions. The Faculty of Arts includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, English, Indigenous studies, international studies, law, media, music, communication and cultural studies, modern history, politics and international relations, philosophy, sociology, and policing, intelligence and counter-terrorism. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Janet Greeley, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Human Sciences, to present the graduates. Professor Greeley.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Human Sciences whom you have admitted to degrees. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Andrew Thomas Cram, for a thesis entitled Ethical Decision-Making in Virtual Worlds. Congratulations. Dr. Sheila Kathleen Curzon, for a thesis entitled A Very Moral Minority, an investigation of the influence of Rudolf Steiner's esoteric Weltanschauung or worldview on the purpose and principles of Waldorf education. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Early Childhood, Melinda Sue Barsoom. Nicole Lee J. Hunt. Laura Kate Pierce, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Education, Catherine Valerie Fisher. Fraser Eric Giblin. Karen Lorraine Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to Macquarie University's 150,000 graduates? Well done. Come on, we will get another photo.
Ready, John? Peter? Yes. Peter John Macquarie. Sarah Ellen McIlvaine. Angela Teresa Mustaka. Andrew John Pierce. David Pearson Ramsey. Elizabeth Ann Sheldon. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Educational Leadership, Carrie Therese Barker. Maria Rose Ann Bernardo. Natalie Seixas Christofidelis. Lisa Jane Howell. Emma Louise McGill. Hawa Sosan. Rebecca Kathleen Tulin. Anna Victoria Velez. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Educational Leadership, School Education. Amber Margaret Gorell, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Suzanne Marie Moffat. Anthony Charles Tenian. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Higher Education. Rhonda Collins. Susan Mary. Claudia Melena Moreno Perez. Jordana Rebecca Orsini Flores. Lena Solomon. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Special Education. Yvonne Jane Adams. Denise Takyu Chi. Carly Chilton. Shania Dubash. Dominique Gibb. Heather Michelle Gillespie. Annette K. Griffin. Stephanie Natasha Harris. Amy Huggett. Stephanie Nicole Lynham. Kimberly O'Brien. Rebecca Roos. Kirsty Michelle Tapson. Katrina Maureen Wallace. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Teaching, birth to 5 years. Anne Louise Bennett. Rebecca Evelyn Bly. Shanta Lakshmi, daughter of Sitananda. Yue Gu. Nicole Therese Johnson. Xinyi Li. Amy Jane Love. Laura Jane Panacci. Georgina Panzoni. Denise Joan Savins. Liao Ying Shi. Lenny Samat Kamulia. Anita Hao Yi Tsi. Anne Davina Willandani. Yanan Zhang. Yuqi Zhang. I present the diplomate awarded the postgraduate diploma in higher education, Nilanka Prasanti Tilbrook. I present diplomates awarded the postgraduate diploma in special education, Bernadette Claire Jacka. Diana Katerina Venuto. I present diplomates awarded the Graduate Diploma of Advanced Studies in Early Childhood, Tanel Lewis. Julia Kate McCain. Bronwyn Gillian Statham. I present diplomates awarded the Graduate Diploma of Early Childhood Teaching. Angelina Fasano. Danielle Tara Lockwood. Fiona Grace Turner. I present the diplomate awarded the Graduate Diploma of Education, Ryan John Besgrove. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts with the Diploma of Education, Amelia Ann Kaur. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Mengxi Zhang. Mickey Dingwall. Jihye Kim. Soklin Lee. Fatima Mirza. Feng Yi Tian. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Education, Early Childhood Education, Birth to 12. Zainab Abdelak. Tiana Marie Aegis. Jennifer Arnold. Jessica Baker. Fiona Elizabeth Baxter. Hannah Berger. Kylie Marie Beavis. Megan Joan Cameron. Louise Kavanagh. Ricky Chan. Emily May Channel. Ashley Marie Kallela. Tanya Jane DeBeer. Jessica DeCandia. Anna Helen de Jong. Alice Erin Adams Dean. Ashley Elizabeth Dickinson. Nicole Elizabeth Dowd. Ashley Edwards. Caitlin Jane Edwards. Rochelle Mary Elage. Lauren Elton. Denise Ferris. Catherine Fernandopouli. Erin Fote. Vanessa Jane Goddard. Stella Gudis. Rosemarie Ann Guerrera. Fatima Haidar. Maria Kathleen Grace Hall. Majida Hatemi. Renee Dawn Hearn. Elizabeth Hellier. Melissa Susan Height Scott. Amanda Long Yi Hung. Michelle Lucy May Iacona. Catherine Edith Isaacs. Yasan Jones. Marie Antoinette Caron. Susan Denise Kearns. Madeline Ann Kim. Alina Jane Lawless. Jody Lawrence. Julia Jimin Lee. Caroline Leroy. Yuling Lim. Sarah Carmel Lindsay. Ellen Louise Lingley. Casey Simone Lasordo. Eloise Martin. Laura Elizabeth Martin. Emma Marvel. Shabina Masoom. Catherine Patricia Meggett. Catherine Lily Menardo. Danielle Mary Morgan. Maria Sol Morgan. Nancy Moshi. Marianne Nastevsky. Emily Linda Newton. Ji Wei Felicia Niham. Sorfan Nguyen. Emma Louise Alice Nutt. Sokha Paulson. Amy Perger. Amanda Jane Peterson. Lauren Therese Piggott. Ellen Pitterino. Eleanor Amy Pleffer. Rosemary Patricia Probert. Benaz Razai. Catherine Rylett. Laura Ashley Rosenthal. Samantha Rosenthal. Leah Michelle Sefton. Jessamy Ruth Shelley. Catherine Short. Catherine Victoria Short. Haley Rose Smith. Amanda Lee Stolwick. Ravilia Sulas. Natalie Sun. Mika Tanahashi. Kiera Ann Vella. Stephanie Vrandich. Jessica Lee Watton. Brianna Kate Weston. Jacqueline Wood. Aileen Victoria Schwerb. Sophia Young. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Teaching, birth to 5 years. Rachel Pamela Antcliffe. Stephanie Astry. Nadine Atzi. Melissa Louise Bailey. Nicole Baker. Paula Silvana Cole. Sophie Rose Gathy. Costanza Guarici. Yina Hua. Michelle Louise Itzo. Shannon Linda Lewis. Iphigenia Mariana Marangos. Erin Kathleen Mealy. Catherine Sarah O'Donnell. Jade Pascoe. Therese Quinnen. Samantha Ellen Scalard. Emma Joy Toe. Jacinda Yuanfeng Wong. I present graduates from the Faculty of Arts admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Community Management. Maxine Austin. Pamela June Boney. Myra Roisin Gorey. Daryl Ray. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Human Sciences and the Faculty of Arts.
Well now, that wasn't too bad, was it? That gorgeous voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. And I can't tell you how lucky you were today to have Angela singing at your graduation. Because on the days when Angela can't get here, I do the singing. Would anyone like to hear Angela sing a little bit more? Okay, well, it's very simple. All you have to do is enrol in another degree, and when you come back, I promise you, Angela will be here. Let's give her another great round of applause. And we have some fabulous musicians over there on the Chinese flute, Chai Chang Ming. Where's Chai? There he is. And also our organist, Dr. James Forsyth. And sitting next to James, and I think also over here, we have some of our alumni volunteers who come along to make sure that things run smoothly at your graduation. They deserve a great round of applause too. Well, graduates and ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with the resolution from the University Council, Ms Ita Buttrose, AO, OBE, for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa of Macquarie University. I now invite the Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, Professor Bruce Doughton, to read the citation. Professor Doughton.
I ask Ms Ita Buttrose to please stand for the citation. Ms Ita Buttrose, AO, OBE, is an exceptional Australian, a media editor, businesswoman, best-selling author, committed community and welfare leader, and 2013 Australian of the Year. Born in Sydney, Ms Buttrose attended Dover Heights Home Science High School until, aged 15, she left formal education to pursue her passion as a journalist. Her first role as copy girl at the Australian Women's Weekly was the start of an incomparable media career. She became a cadet journalist on the Daily and Sunday Telegraphs, and her first byline came in 1959 when the 17-year-old covered the Australian tour by Princess Alexandra. At age 23, she was appointed women's editor of the Telegraphs, and 2 years later began a role overseas for the United Kingdom's Women's Own magazine, before returning to Australia in 1970 and to her former role at the Telegraphs. Her most famous role began in 1972 as the founding editor of Clio magazine. It was an instant and runaway success, and she remained at the helm until 1975, when she was appointed the editor of the flagship magazine, the Australian Women's Weekly. She was the youngest ever editor of the magazine and enjoyed unprecedented success in that capacity. She subsequently became editor-in-chief of both publications before being appointed the publisher of Australian Consolidated Press Women's Division in 1978. In 1981, she took the role of editor-in-chief of the Daily and Sunday Telegraphs, making her the first female editor of a major Australian metropolitan magazine. She also became the first woman director of News Limited. Twice voted Australia's most admired woman, Ms Buttrose founded Capricorn Publishing and the Good Life Publishing Company, as well as created ITA magazine. She has been involved with publishing work for such clients as David Jones, Telstra, and indeed the ATO. She has written 11 very successful books, including her best-selling autobiography, A Passionate Life. She is the current National President of Alzheimer's Australia, patron of the Macular Disease Foundation, and Emeritus Director of Arthritis Australia. She was made an Officer of the Order of Australia for her services to the community, especially in the field of public health education, when she spearheaded Australia's HIV/AIDS education campaign. She recently received an OBE for her services to journalism and a Centenary Medal for business leadership. Chancellor, it is with extraordinary pleasure that I present to you Ms. Ita Buttrose, AO OBE, for the award of the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
Ita Buttrose, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. Dr. Buttrose, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Dr. Buttrose to present the occasional address. Please welcome Dr. Buttrose.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, hang on a tick, need the glasses. As I was saying, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the academic procession, graduates, family and friends, I am honoured and delighted to receive this honorary doctorate. University of Life graduates don't always have such an honour bestowed on them, and in accepting this, I want to recognise those who may never physically receive their degree, but whose contributions have been no less impactful on Australian society. My hearty congratulations to all you graduates here today who have studied for years for this moment. This is your day. Enjoy it. You have well and truly earned it. You realise, of course, that accomplishing this means you can achieve virtually anything. Self-belief is the key, and from experience I can tell you that whenever you feel yourself veering off course and wading into those murky waters of self-doubt, which happens to all of us at some time, positive self-talk is the way back. Communication, of course, is my passion, which is why it troubles me when I hear that many Gen Ys and Zs wear cynicism almost like a badge. I'd like to see you all install a sat-nav for life with a Siri that steers you down a route that is life-affirming as opposed to life-negating, which is where I fear your cynicism is taking you. Indeed, cynicism is so rife in the generations that you represent today that it's often referred to as a disease. Viewing the world through your eyes, I admit I can see much to be cynical about, but there's also cause for much optimism. It hasn't escaped my attention that optimism and its sidekick, positivity, have received some pretty rugged treatment from some of our stand-up comics lately. They clearly need a good PR agent. Well, here I am. Let me begin by telling you why it's healthier, smarter, and more attractive to be an optimist rather than a pessimist. Let's look at a few facts. Psychologist Barbara Friedrichsen from the University of North Carolina, whose work is regularly cited in academic circles, has effectively trashed the dismissive, soft and fluffy label often linked to optimism and positivity. In short, her scientific trials found that negative emotions narrow the mind, focus thoughts, and limit options, which is great if you're facing extreme danger, but not if you're trying to be creative or productive and want to think laterally and engage your imagination. Conversely, she found that a positive state of mind results in higher productivity, a broadening of skill sets, and an ability to perceive more possibilities in life. So let's consider the health benefits of positivity. There are vast numbers of studies and claims, so I'll turn to the Mayo Clinic, an institution I hold in high esteem. While acknowledging it's unclear why people who engage in positive thinking experience health benefits, the Mayo Clinic lists a number of physical conditions such as cardiovascular disease and the common cold that benefit from a glass half full versus a glass half empty attitude. Positive thinking can result in an increased lifespan, lower levels of stress, and better coping skills through hardships and times of stress. Why are optimistic people more attractive? Because their smiles are more open and generous. I don't know about you, but I've found that smiles that stem from cynicism have a distinctly disparaging edge to them, which I don't find appealing at all. So what's feeding the cynicism? The consensus is lack of trust in and respect for the system, the authorities, and each other. I blame us, the generations that have preceded yours, for failing to communicate or, more importantly, demonstrate through our actions that humanity is essentially more good than bad, more trustworthy than dishonest, more dependable than undependable. In other words, we're failing to give you the reason to believe in the world we're handing on to you. I resonate with His Holiness the Dalai Lama's statement that at birth, all human beings are naturally endowed with the qualities we need for our survival, such as caring, nurturing, and loving kindness. And I'm not fussed, by the way, that the loving kindness from birth statement is up for debate. That's one of the things I actually love about getting older. You're not so attached to other people's opinions. Life's experiences count for a lot. Trust me, it's very liberating. Another debate, directly related, that has raged for decades and which I confess I follow with endless fascination, is whether the human species is innately cooperative or combative, altruistic or selfish. It's of particular interest to me at the moment because I believe the assumption that dominates currently, we are naturally combative and selfish, is contributing to Gen Y's and Z's negativity and pessimism. The eminent Professor Robert Cloninger, Professor of Psychiatry, Genetics and Psychology at Washington University, St. Louis, and co-author of Origins of Altruism and Cooperation, told me the other day that most academics still hold the view that prevailed in the 60s and 70s and was coloured by 2 world wars and popularised by anthropologist Robert Hardy, whose ideas influenced Stanley Kubrick in the development of 2001, A Space Odyssey, that people are descended from violent apes and therefore cannot help but be violent. He reckons there is now a minority of informed academics who try to capitalise on that cynical view. Informed academics who actually know their literature are more sanguine in their view, but I think if you ask people in the general population, most would still believe the largely discredited position that our violence and non-cooperation is determined by our genetics. The rest would be divided between blaming our culture and environment. Professor Cloninger's book, co-edited with anthropologist Robert Sussman, looks at the evolution of altruism and cooperation in primates and humans, and shows several lines of evidence converging to document that cooperation and altruism are the natural healthy state of human beings. Cloninger maintains that competition and aggression are an aberration caused by prior experiences of trauma, abuse and neglect, and that cooperation is the glue that binds us. So who we believe we are at our core impacts dramatically on our attitudes and behaviour and shapes how we design and foster peaceful, productive interaction and relationships. What concerns me is that the map of human nature being given to future generations appears to be skewed towards antagonism as opposed to cooperation, nasty as opposed to decent. To go back to my exchange of views with Conacher once more, a healthy human character, he says, is self-directed, cooperative, unselfish and altruistic. These character traits are predictive in feeling happy, energetic and fulfilled with a sense of meaning, purpose and integrity. In contrast, the lack of these traits leads to more negative emotions than positive emotions, more disease and stress-related disorders, and a sense of meaningless and emptiness, which is so prevalent in modern society. People can always point to the frequency of violence in the world, but it seems to me that Clonacher's work confirms that those who show such competition and aggression are unhealthy and unhappy and die prematurely. There's no doubt in my mind that disillusionment with our political system, specifically the combatants who purport to uphold it, is fanning the fire of cynicism, especially in your generations, which hasn't had the opportunity to witness a contrary example of political discourse, one in which courteous behaviour is a quality to be admired and mutual respect counts for much more than mere political expediency. Broken political promises have become so commonplace, they barely even produce a raised eyebrow anymore. So in conclusion, I would like to address our political leaders, current and future, maybe some of you sitting here today. Please take responsibility and consider your legacy beyond your policies. Consider it in the terms of the power of your words and actions and how they are influencing future generations. Best wishes to all the graduates here today as you plan your future directions. This, like it is for you, I'm sure, is a very special day in my life. And thank you again for the wonderful honour that has been paid to me today. Thank you.
Well, graduates, I'm sure you'll agree that that was a great occasional address. And what an important message there. Cynicism can be and is debilitating. Yet a positive approach to the world, an optimistic approach to the world, a happy approach to the world can not only change your life, but the lives of many people around you. In fact, yesterday our Vice-Chancellor had to step in to give the occasional address when our occasional speaker had an accident in the family. And he made 3 points. One of them, the third and final point, was be happy. And Dr. Buttrose touched upon the same thing today. It is amazing how your life will be different and better if you are happy. And there's a simple way to be happy. If you're feeling unhappy, just smile. Seriously. And you will be amazed at the change in your mood and your outlook that simple physical thing of smiling will bring about. So, Ida, thank you very much for being such an important part of our graduation today. She really is a great Australian. One thing that we didn't tell you about her, but I know because for a few years I was the chairman of the Australia Day Council of New South Wales, and Ida was one of our fabulous Australia Day ambassadors. And that meant that every Australia Day, when you're down by the beach or on the harbour or enjoying a backyard with your friends, Ida would hop on a plane and go to some little tiny town way out in the back of Bourke where she would bring an Australia Day message to those little communities. Now, never got any publicity, but I thought that was a great thing for Ida to do. Ida, once again, thank you very, very much. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage of your relationship with Macquarie University, but it's certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of 150-something thousand Macquarie graduates who now span the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please do make sure that you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, or perhaps use our aquatic and fitness facilities, or even if you just like to have a stroll through our lovely campus, or even enjoy a picnic with your friends down by the lake. Graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either. Because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned not only for your own benefit, but also for the betterment of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you have enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here today with you. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things for me. Graduates, would you now please stand? Now I'd like you to put your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free. And I'd like you to turn to face your families and friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Now, graduates, you can turn around, but don't sit down because we'll be leaving in a moment. But please do pick up your degrees. We don't want anyone leaving them behind. Well, ladies and gentlemen, oh, by the way, up here on the dais are some representatives of our academic community who've been very important in your time here at Macquarie. I'm sure you'd like to give them a round of applause too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the graduation hall through the centre aisle and will be followed by all of the graduates. I hope then that all of you will join the graduates and join the procession down to the marquee by the lake, where we will have some light refreshments for you. I would invite everyone to now please stand. Graduates, I wish you the very best for the future, and in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind always be at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Graduates, good luck.